No. I want to thank all of you. Except for Rick, who I've met recently, and we're going to have a long continuing conversation. I've known each of these panelists for many, many years. And I'll tell you, when we talk about Boston strong, and we particularly talk about the environment in Massachusetts strong, these 5 individuals up here are the people that built it and continue to make it stronger every day, and have deep respect, appreciation, very fond of all of you. So thank you very much for helping us out today. Paul Josephson is going to make a few closing remarks here, and then I'd just like to wrap it up, and we'll be out of here. I think we have to be out of here by 4 o'clock, so this is going to be very quick. Bruce.
So one of the earlier speakers was commenting on the 2 worst speeches being the one after lunch and the one at the close, so I get the honors. We've had a long day here, but it's been a great day. We started with rain, we had a little bit of snow, maybe a little bit of ice, and now we're getting a gorgeous sunset and an appropriate close. I wanted to, and I am going to keep this very, very short. I know some folks asked me, being a New Jersey guy, and some of my colleagues in Philadelphia said, you're doing a national conference, why are you doing it in Boston? And I think it's hard for me to think of a more inspirational place than this harbor and this building, and the president who this building honors and memorializes. We've heard several of our speakers have mentioned quotes, and in the gift store I was picking something up for my daughter on the way home, because of course you can't go home without one, and this mug said it all. One person can make a difference, and everyone should try. And I can't think of better closing words for a conference like this. I think all of you took your day, and some of you more than a day, to travel here to share thoughts on a very important topic. I think everybody in this room understands that we can make a difference, and if you're a friend of Bill, I know you're going to try, and even if you don't want to try, Bill's going to make you try. I'd be remiss if I didn't thank 1 or 2 folks before I hand it over to Bill. I want to thank my colleagues from the Duane Morris Boston office who were very helpful in organizing today. Mike Donahue, Joel Friedman is here, and one of my colleagues who could not make it but has a distinctly important Boston role, Sheila Hollis in our Washington office, who actually represents Plymouth with respect to the Pilgrim plant. So the comments in the last panel really rung home on that. And finally, it would be, I would really be remiss if I didn't thank 2 very important people who got us all here today. Of course, Bill Golden, but his other half, his better half. Kristen, thank you so much for everything you've done. Phenomenal event, both of you guys. Thank you very much. I know you're going to keep us busy. I know this isn't the end of it, and I have a feeling that's what Bill's about to tell us. Thank you very much for your time today.
This isn't the end. This is, in fact, the beginning. I would like to first thank my wife, Kristen, who was a big part of making this happen. I'd like to thank Duane Morris, Suffolk University's Real Estate Center, Richard Taylor. I'd like to thank the Engineering Center, and particularly Abby Goodman and Dean Groves, who were instrumental in their sponsorship. But I'd also like to thank all of the speakers today. Weren't they absolutely fantastic? Just amazing talent. Change. Change is the law of life. And those who look to the past or present are certain to miss the future. That's what today is all about. I had a very astute reporter ask me today, how can you get things going in this country? How can you convince people to move to action when people no longer believe in science? They don't believe in economics. They don't believe in facts anymore. They believe only in their beliefs. And of course, it's their beliefs they believe in and not yours or mine. So how do we move people to action? How do we form this coalition? How do we find hope in this situation that will move us forward? For me, it's very personal. In 1970, I was recruited to work for the White House. We were challenged, 5 of us, led by Doug Costel, later an administrator of EPA, who led the 5 of us, to come up with 2 reorganization plans. Reorganization Plan 3 was to create EPA. Of course, we didn't know we were creating EPA at the start. We sat around a room, a couple of really sharp Harvard Business School guys were there, and we talked about EPA being in commerce, in interior, whatever. But most of all, we talked about the fact the Cuyahoga River was burning. We talked about Birmingham, where you couldn't get a breath of air. Talked about LA, where kids were sick every day just from walking to school. And look what we have done. We have a Garden of Eden in this country. Go to China. Go to Eastern Europe. Go to other parts of the world, the Soviet Union, where they're choking on their smog, they can't drink the water, and their health problems are legion and growing. I went running on a beach one day, and instead of stepping in jellyfish, I stepped in raw sewage. And as a result of that, I looked out at Boston Harbor, and I said, gee, and I'd invite you to look out at this harbor. At that point, there had been 100 studies about Boston Harbor being polluted. There'd been a study of how many studies there were to clean up Boston Harbor. Nobody thought it could be done. But the leadership that was out there, the energy that was out there, the support of the public that had never been acknowledged was out there. And working together, we were able to create the Massachusetts Water Resources Authority, a multi-billion-dollar project that was built on budget, on time, and has made the dirtiest harbor in America the cleanest harbor in America. So I know this can be done. I know that all of you out there, and thousands of more around this country, have the power to do it. So what do we do from here? I need you. I need your support. I need your follow-up to today. I want you to drop business cards, if you haven't already, in the receptacle on that small table so we can follow up with you. I want to meet with you. I want to meet with you in small groups. I want to have retreats where we talk. We have think tanks about where we go from here. And I want you to seriously consider coming to New York City, to Lower Manhattan, for the second of 3 symposiums we're going to have. That will be a very different kind of symposium. That's where we're going to have big insurance, big reinsurance, big finance, big real estate. And we're going to not only call them to action, but just like today, we're going to challenge them. The private sector has a big role in making this happen, along with government. We heard about the leadership in government today, but we need the private sector. And combining government and the private sector, we'll move on to the 3rd symposium, either late next year or the beginning of 2015 in Washington. And we're going to put this issue on the national agenda. We're not going to back down. We're not going to think that we're going to have less of a future for our children than we've had. We're going to reimagine the coastlines of America. We're going to be that great maritime nation that attracted people from all over the world to the opportunities we had here. We're going to reestablish and revitalize our relationship with the seas and with the coasts of the inland waterways. We're going to see in them not a threat, but an opportunity, just like the Dutch have done. We can do the same thing. That's what this conference is about. That's what our challenge is. That's what our opportunities are. Thank you so much for coming today. I appreciate it very much. I look around and see how many people stayed to the bitter end. That's a testament to the speakers. So let's carry forth the word from here. Thank you very much.